is it true that
Genius.
Elon Musk is an extraterrestrial being?
He's definitely a genius and a man with a vision and creative ideas. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some extraterrestrial. 15% of the American people believe they've had contact with extraterrestrial intelligences at one level or another. So that would be approximately 45 million Americans. And perhaps multidimensional, perhaps physical contact, that there are representatives of a galactic confederation that are here on the earth right now. And these are people in high authority in governments around the world that are leaking this information, or perhaps some kind of psychic or spiritual experiences, but contact with beings beyond the earth nevertheless. So by the time the government comes around to admitting that we are not alone and we've never been alone, um,
Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. On this show, we talk about deep spiritual and mystical experiences of people which we normally shy away talking about. We are more than our physical body. We are spiritual beings on a human journey, and we discuss how a soul exists on multiple dimensions. We discuss science, technology, and spirituality point of views and perspectives on this show. Our purpose is to open our minds to limitless possibilities and our hearts to love and shine the light within bright. Our guest today is Dr. Raymond Keller. He is also known as Cosmic Ray. He's a veteran and retired history professor, and he's an international award winning author of the Venus Rising series of books. His books explored many facets of the conditions and life on Venus in many dimensions from a perspective of conspiracies, history, politics, governance, theosophy, ufology, current events, and especially space research. Dr. Keller, that is Ray, has lived and worked in 44 different countries and has been writing about UFOs, mysteries of the planet, Venus, and flying saucers and paranormal activities since 1967. He was the founder and director of Outer Space International Research and Investigation Society. We have with us Dr. Raymond Keller, who is a returning guest on our podcast. A very warm welcome and such a privilege to have you here again on Multidimensional Soul podcast and a talk show.
thank you, Akanksha. It's a great privilege to be here with you and with your audience.
Thank you. Last time we discussed in detail about the Venusian civilization, how you visited Venus, and about the Queen and the culture there. And we also discussed about the big disclosure that is happening in 2026 in the US at three places. So I would like to know, is there any update on this, especially considering the US elections that happened recently? And now that Trump is elected, there are different possibilities that people are saying that the timelines have altered, or are they going to be the same? What can you talk about that?
Well, UFOs continue to be an intense subject in the news here in the United States. Despite the elections and all the controversy about the recent appointments being made for cabinet positions and so forth, the Congress went ahead last week with more hearings on UAP, or unidentified aerial phenomena. And while they didn't announce any conclusive findings. It's interesting to note that the government is involved and interested in the subject, and they still admit that there is a technology behind some of the reports that they cannot explain. So we're definitely moving closer to a larger public disclosure. But I do believe that in addition to Hollywood and disclosures about UFOs that are gradually leaked out in the movies that we watch and science fiction shows that are really not science fiction, but in some cases reflective of the real facts that are going on. The big disclosure is coming with individuals on a very personal level. A recent poll indicated that 15% of the American people believe they've had contact with extraterrestrial intelligences at one level or another. So that would be approximately 45 million Americans. And perhaps multidimensional, perhaps physical contact, or perhaps some kind of psychic or spiritual experiences, but contact with beings beyond the earth nevertheless. So by the time the government comes around to admitting that we are not alone and we've never been alone, it'll kind of be an afterthought because so many people have experienced the extraterrestrial presence on their very own.
Okay. So, how do you see this geopolitical dynamics playing out? Are there going to be UFOs only in the US, or there are going to be disclosures across the countries? And recently we had some sighting in India also, as I got to know. So, how is it going to be? Is there going to be some kind of consortium, or are the countries going to come together for this, or what is your understanding about this?
Start becoming interested in space research and joining the League of Nations in the world that are involved in the exploration of outer space. For example, India is going to soon join Russia, the United States, Japan, and the European Union in sending an exploratory spacecraft, an unmanned probe to the planet Venus. And so we see on this level that there's increased cooperation. And I believe there will also be cooperation when it comes to UFOs and sharing information about UFOs, if it isn't being done already, but kind of in the background or secretly. I know that UFOs have been seen in every country since the beginning of recorded history, and the only reason that I mentioned the um, uh, the appearance of UFOs on the 250th anniversary of the United States at Mount Shasta in Sedona and at the Teton range in Wyoming is because that's a very special event. And it's much like Jose Arguelles and the famous harmonic convergence that took place in 1987, the gathering at Mount Shasta. I think it'll be much along the same lines.
So, when you mentioned about one thing is the UFO public, UFO or UAP public disclosure, as in actually the UAPs and UFOs being seen on the sky, in the sky, on the ocean, or something like that. Another thing is we being psychically connected with the the extraterrestrial beings, and having that contact as such, where we already have contactees like yourself and Rob Potter and others who are doing amazing work along with in collaboration with the extraterrestrial beings. In what form will the contact will be? Like, are they going to be hybrid beings who are going to come here on Earth and contact, or is it going to be like only telepathic contact? What kind of contact is it going to be?
Will continue at multiple levels, much as they have been taking place in the past decades, at least since the late 1940s to the present. The extraterrestrial presence has certainly been augmented here on Earth, and the levels of contacts of various kind. In fact, that's the subject of uh, my most recent book, which is the Real Resident Aliens. And I'm very excited about this book. And it talks about people from all over the world and their contacts with extraterrestrials, some that have been here on Earth, living and working among us clandestinely for a long time. Well, I should also mention too that in my very first book, which is Venus Rising: A Concise History of the Second Planet, and all my books deal with the starseed connection, the connections that we have with starseeds. And for example, I have a I have a whole section here on starseed activation, and I talk about various aspects like physical aspects, emotional aspects, extraterrestrial experiences, out of body experiences, metaphysical experiences, psychic development, and so forth pertaining to starseeds. That it will help people reading this book to help looking into all these categories and subcategories to help define and understand their own personal starseed connections.
Wow, okay. So, what exactly is the difference between an extraterrestrial resident alien here and a starseed? Can you explain that to our viewers?
Okay. Now, a starseed can be anyone who traces a connection in their life to extraterrestrials or an extraterrestrial background, perhaps a prior incarnation, maybe a walk-in, maybe a substitutionary type of thing like Omnek Onek. There's some connection, but it's not directly being linked to a flying saucer coming down, and except for maybe like the case of Omnek. But the case with the resident aliens is that they were placed here on Earth in strategic positions to blend in with us. Their natural form may not even be humanoid, but they've assumed a human appearance, a human bodily appearance, to blend in with our society or societies and cultures, and to integrate themselves into the matrix of daily life, I guess you could call it. And and so they're working in those positions from behind the scenes to promote peace, happiness, and understanding between peoples here on Earth.
Oh, okay. I have heard somewhere that Elon Musk is an alien. He's an extraterrestrial being because he is promoting something good for the humanity in terms of going to Mars, and that is the interspace travel, as well as the climate change, how to handle that, and all the electric cars and all that. So, is it true that
Genius.
Elon Musk is an extraterrestrial being?
He's definitely a genius and a man with a vision and creative ideas. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some extraterrestrial connection there, and most likely with the planet Mars, because he seems to be so fascinated in going to the red planet. And yeah, definitely there's some kind of Martian connection there for sure. I don't know if he's a walk-in or if he's actually an extraterrestrial, but I wouldn't doubt it if there's definitely some kind of extraterrestrial connection in the life of Elon Musk.
And with Trump coming into power as a president and Elon Musk backing him, I think there is a lot happening on the US front. So, what are the predictions apart from this 2026 disclosure? Are there any other predictions how the humanity is moving now? Because considering the climate change that is happening so rapidly, and the wars are still going on, so there is still a lot of chaos that is happening on earth, and there is still a huge polarity that is currently being seen on earth. And it's like, as they say, that it's probably the dark night of the earth, mother earth, as a sentient being, that everything is coming to surface, and all the darkness is kind of coming to surface for it to be processed and transmuted into light. So this, I understand, is a very significant decade altogether. So what other insights and understanding do you have apart from the 2026 disclosure? How are we doing in terms of ascension, and where are we heading in the next decade?
Okay, well, it's very important that several things happen on the Earth with the population at large, you know, above and beyond the political situation, because if these things happen, then the political situation will ease itself, the political and economic situation. I think the first thing is more people moving into an understanding of the unity of humankind, of our commonalities, and acceptance of our fellow beings here on the earth, and going beyond racism and sexism and so forth, and working for the common good of everybody. So while sovereignty of nations is important, they also have to at times put aside nationalisms and come to work together. So that's one thing. And then another thing is not hoarding knowledge, you know, to get to the point where we can feel comfortable with sharing knowledge and information, because this is what lifts people up, and this is what we can build on and make a better world. And if we hoard the technology and keep it from the people, then we're really depriving the whole planet, because maybe there are free or cheap energy sources that we could be using, and this is important. So the extraterrestrials are looking for humans to start doing this thing, and then spiritual and psychic development is also important. A lot of people are realizing that organized religions, while they've been good in the past, for many things, they've also created a lot of contention, and it's it's really ridiculous that people should be fighting uh, over these things. But it's also a fact that science and religion seem to be coming together. New discoveries on spiritual frontiers about the soul and consciousness are emerging all the time, and and so this kind of research, and also individuals working on their own spiritual development and developing the powers that are latent within them, this is also very important. Once we do these kind of things, we'll have a society where the extraterrestrials can drop the cover and just work with us openly. And I see that eventually happening, but we still have a lot of work to do.
So when you said that extraterrestrials working with us seamlessly, do you have any prediction in terms of how many years will that be?
Well, I see it at least a few decades off because we have so many petty nationalisms and quarrels and economic difficulties, tariffs, and all these kind of things that represent obstacles and hurdles that to bringing people together and disequilibrium between economic systems and countries. And so when we do these things and we develop a stronger but a global type of energy grid, and we'll be moving in the right direction. At least 2 decades or more, and then developing the consciousness of people overall. It's good that they have, that people have religions, but they have to start thinking spiritually versus religiously.
Yeah, so true. You mentioned about advanced technology being available, and that brings to the most discussed topic is artificial intelligence. And what has happened in the past civilizations, especially Atlantis, that because of the technology misuse, the civilization was destroyed. And we don't want to repeat the same thing as a humanity. And there is a fear, as they show in the Hollywood movies, that AI is going to take over and the robots will take over and all that. And it is portrayed in a negative fashion. But is there a possibility that AI will become self-aware in the coming decades? And in that case, what will be the role of AI with regards to the humanity and moving into higher vibration?
The reason that I would caution against AI is because of the people that program it. In other words, it depends on where their consciousness is, the creators of AI. Because here on the earth, we're at a crucial point in our cosmic evolution. We don't want to let our technology surpass our spirituality, our level of spirituality and spiritual understanding, because this would be fatal. This is what is, as you said, what happened to Atlantis and Lemuria in ancient times, in the Quella and other ancient civilizations that have gone the way of their own destruction. And we can't let that happen, because then the AI would be like a Frankenstein monster. So it depends on the consciousness of the people behind it, their motivations, where their heart is, because that's what's going into the AI, whether they realize it or not. That's what we have to be worried about uh, here on Earth. If it's for selfish political or military gains, then it's bad. It's bad. But if it's going to be used to enhance the quality of life for all the peoples of the world, then I'm for it.
Yeah, and that brings me back again to Elon Musk because he opposes AI big time because of the ethical and moral reasons. And he is an influential person, but what can a common person do in day-to-day life to make sure that he or she is on the right path where technology and spirituality go hand in hand, and technology doesn't overtake spirituality, and we make sure that we are spiritual beings using the technology in a right way? What can a common person do?
We need to do is develop spiritual discernment about everything we do. That involves prayer, study, meditation on every day, setting a little time apart from the world where you can get into spiritual things for reading sacred or inspired writings, for doing small acts of kindness here and there. These are the things that are really important. They have a snowball effect on society uh, for for the better, and these will help us to temper our use of technology and help us to think about it and how we're going to apply it. We don't have to be like the Amish and just shun it altogether, but with spiritual discernment and understanding and patience, we can use it to help people instead of harm them. So, we could, with atomic energy, for example, we could build spaceships to fly to other planets. We can light up all the cities, or we could destroy them with atomic bombs. So, it depends on how you apply these things, and that only comes through this kind of special discernment.
Yeah, true. So ordinary people who are doing their spiritual practices, what kind of techniques do you recommend so that they bring in this contact with the advanced level extraterrestrial beings sooner in their reality?
Passion in life. There's always something that each individual has an intense interest in. And I think one of the things that we can do is to follow our passion and to study and improve in those areas, and to be open to new ideas and so forth. When you're following your passion and doing what you like, what engages you and your interests, then you will be happy and the world will be a better place. I'm retired now, but when I was a professor, there was so many at the West Virginia University. So many students didn't know what they wanted to do. They were kind of lost, and it costs a lot of money to go to a 4-year university. And so I said, I would recommend that you just take the first 2 years and just go to a community college, and then just take all the different electives and things that you're interested in. Just get an associate degree and then find out what you're interested in. And you'll save a lot of money. And then when you're ready, then go to a 4-year school, and probably all of your credits will be transferred anyway, so you won't have to be there for that long, and then you could specialize. But people have to find out what they're interested in first, because that's where ultimately they're going to make a contribution to the world. And you don't even have to go to college to do that. I mean, if you're a carpenter or something, be the best one you could be. Um, and so it's this kind of thing. I mean, Jesus himself was a carpenter before anything, before he ever began his ministry or anything. So this is the thing. Yeah, follow your passion, follow what you're interested in.
Yeah,
And and then as you're learning, another thing is because the teachers that you need to guide you on your path will just somehow show up in your life. All the mentors you need will show up, because you will attract them from the universe, and the universe will supply all the teachers and mentors that you need to fulfill your destiny here on earth. Like I think it was Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain, who said, there's only two important dates in anybody's life: the day they were born, number one, and number two is the day when they found out why they're here.
absolutely. And I am very passionate about helping people find their purpose. So I can completely resonate with this. In terms of getting contacted by the extraterrestrial beings, now I know, and you had mentioned that because you were a Venusian 13 incarnations back, you have a special affinity to Venus. But if a common person were to find out that I need to contact this higher being from this planet or this star system or something like that, how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, in my book, in the Venus Rising book, I have a guide in there in the like second to last chapter of how to find your own starseed connection. So once you go through this survey and look at these questions, then look for events and signals in your life that point to a starseed connection, a specific star group or a planet, and you'll see everything that happens is not an accident. There's no freak occurrences. Everything happens for a reason. And you could look for these clues or synchronicities in your life that will point you to what star group that you're attached to. And I should say that many people who are star seeds have probably been contacted many times by fellow beings from whatever group it is, Arcturus or Sirius, Venus, the Pleiades. They've probably been contacted by fellow beings from that system many times without them knowing, that are guiding them along, helping them along the way to make their full-fledged connection.
You had mentioned in our last podcast episode that Earth is going to be the 602nd planet in the Sirius new system, as such, in the Confederation. Can you talk a little bit more about that? When is that going to happen? Are we going to go there along with our physical bodies, these bodies? Are we going to have new bodies? And how is that going to look like overall?
While they're on the earth, their bodies will be transformed or augmented in a way. And the Bible talks about these end times, about being changed in the twinkling of an eye. I think it's in First Corinthians chapter 15 about spiritual bodies and physical bodies, and that they're just like in the heavens. There's different, you have the sun, the moon, the stars, and each one differs from another in its qualities and its glory. So the same thing happens with bodies that are celestialized on the material plane. They'll rise from the material plane to a higher spiritual or celestial kind of plane, and then they'll be able to live in other planets and other realms. They'll be able to rise to these other planets as well. This idea was first revealed about the existence of 601 planets presently in the Confederation, was revealed back in California in 1954 at Giant Rock. Giant Rock is in the desert in California at Landers Field, about 17 miles northeast of Yucca Valley. And they had the interplanetary spacecraft conventions there that were held all the way through 1978 by a contactee with the Venusians named George Van Tassel. And he's the one that revealed that the presence of the Venusians was augmented on the Earth from 4,000 up to 12,000, because they wanted the physical Venusians actually here living and working among us for the purpose of helping the Earth along till we get to the point where we could become the 602nd planetary member in the Galactic Confederation. And he said it consisted of 51 solar systems. And of course, there are many alliances and confederations, federations, and so forth out there. We know, for example, from our Kepler probe from the United States, sent a probe with the telescope to look at other star systems. And they've discovered at least 10,000 other planets out there around other solar systems. And they said of those, probably a quarter of them can support Earth-like conditions and possibly have life like it is on the Earth. And we know for also that other kinds of life besides humanoid can exist out there. We know that on the Earth, even because if you were to go in a submersible like a bathysphere or something down in the Mariana Trenches, 2 miles under the ocean, off the Tonga Islands or something, and you went down there all the way, and it was, you went 2 miles under the ocean, be equivalent of about 120 atmospheres of pressure. And there's volcanic vents down there with temperatures of 940 degrees Fahrenheit. And guess what? There's life of all kinds that live down there. They've taken pictures of it. So, these are called extremophiles. So we know that life is adaptable to many different conditions and probably exists on all the planets. It's conformity to the planetary conditions in which those individual organisms evolve. So we're definitely not alone. Definitely not alone in the universe. This idea of a confederation or federation is not that far-fetched. There have been the Canadian defense minister, Paul Hellyer, he talked about it, that it exists. It really exists. And Haim Shed from the Israel Space Authority, he said the same thing. He said he knows for a fact that there are representatives of a galactic confederation that are here on the Earth right now. And these are people in high authority in governments around the world that are leaking this information. So this is all very, very real. People think it's science fiction, but I tell you, when like TV shows like Star Trek, they talk about the Federation of Planets and everything. It's not science fiction. It's actual. I believe it's actual fact.
Yeah, absolutely. So, coming back to your book, The Resident Aliens, have you interviewed any aliens who are already there in the government or any other places, influential extraterrestrial beings? What is the book about? Can you describe that?
Let me read the synopsis on the back that clearly explains what it's about. It says, noted ufologist Dr. Raymond Keller believes the idea of extraterrestrials and even ultra-dimensional beings from many different planets and alternate realms living and working among us clandestinely is more than just another conspiracy theory. He has been amassing files of such purported cases since his days with the Cleveland Ufology Project and the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization in the 1960s and feels there exists enough anecdotal evidence to support this conclusion. With this in mind, he made the time to organize this material into a highly readable, fully illustrated, and enjoyable book, which he proudly presents to you now as The Real Resident Aliens.
Yeah, fascinating. Can you show a couple of illustrations from the book to our viewers?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Akanksshaa. I appreciate this. This is some of the information and photos that are in the book, The Real Resident Aliens. It just came out this year, and as I was watching the television show on the Sci-Fi Channel, The Real Resident Alien, starring John Tudyk, it was presented as science fiction, but then I thought, what about the real resident aliens that are here on Earth? I think we need a book that's about the real cases, not just the imaginary science fiction stories. So that inspired me to write this book. So we had the scary reptilian aliens, Be Afraid, Very Afraid. Dr. George Hunt Williamson wrote about the reptilians in chapter 6 in his book, in book 3, called Other Tongues, Other Flesh, Amherst, Wisconsin in 1953. So he already prophesied that there would come a time when these extraterrestrials, reptilian types, would be on the earth, and then 10 years after they had introduced themselves, that there would be a series of alien abductions, which began with Betty and Barney Hill and so forth in 1961. So that I thought that was more than coincidental. Then we have flying saucer occupants have frequently been sighted near schoolyards. These are these little types of aliens. They look like kind of dwarfs. They were sighted at Papua New Guinea on the 26th of June, 1959, seen by dozens of students and teachers. And then also in Australia, in Russia, in Zimbabwe, in New Mexico. There have been cases where these UFOs land and these little people come out and at school grounds, and it's very, very interesting. Then we've had aliens interfering with the space program in different countries. This is a photo. I don't know if I could see that, but follow the red arrow. You could see a small object passing over, hovering near the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket on 1 September 2016 when it blew up on the launch pad. Yes, this was in the United States. This was at Cape Canaveral down in Florida. Okay, then we have a UFO creature that was sighted on the Lake Erie beach. And this was kind of a shadow creature. It was very, very strange. It looked like possibly an ultra-dimensional being. There's the type of craft that was seen by the beachgoers that would park their car on the beach. This is a UFO creature in this report, sighted on a Lake Erie beach, Presque Isle to be exact, on the 31st of July, 1966, when Betty Jean Clem and three friends were in a car when a 6-foot tall, formless creature, like a shadow creature, emerged from this landed UFO and walked right up to her car. So this is an example of a multi-dimensional being. It didn't have a physical form to really speak of. And then how long has this been going on? Neanderthals in the Pyrenees Mountains of Western Europe 60,000 years ago watched aliens unload intergalactic criminals on the Earth, a veritable prison planet. Then, of course, we have um, aliens in science fiction, and here's the movie Howard the Duck, which I thought was really funny. Universal Pictures, 1986. Steven Spielberg. That was the first movie. I think that might have been the first movie he ever produced. Howard was trapped in a world he never made. So that's how some aliens probably feel when they're here on Earth. They're trapped in this world. We have the possibility that your soul may be reincarnated from another planet. Like the mystic Sufi poet Rumi, some came to an understanding early in life that the earth is not their real home. When President Trump created the United States Space Force, he was probably thinking about extraterrestrials. So here's a picture of a typical gray with President Trump. What's he going to do? Build a 50-foot wall and have an alien with a 51-foot ladder? We have cases where aliens are believed to be living and working right by our side here on Earth. And this is from the official UFO magazine, and about a reporter that was believed to be working with an undercover extraterrestrial. And that story is in there. So these are just some of the incidents in the book of the real resident aliens, and the book is about 250 pages, and it's fully illustrated all throughout, and I think everybody would find that enjoyable and very informative.
Thank you for sharing that. Have you taken any interviews of any aliens for the book?
Yes, there are some interviews, and also on the we posted some that you could look at for free. Rob Potter and I have put them on The Promise Revealed. There's sometimes messages that are given that are posted there every year for the summer conference at Mount Shasta. And Rob posts those on his site.
Okay, yeah, we will provide the link in the video description. So thank you for sharing the real resident aliens amongst us, the book. And you have written so many wonderful books, and they are available on Amazon and elsewhere. Can you tell our viewers the process of writing books? You have written so many books, so you have a lot of experience. So can you share that?
Akanksshaa, yes, it's important when you meet people and they share information to keep it, to keep the information. I'm old school, so I have a storage area where I put all this information that I've accumulated since publishing the Flying Saucer Report in the 1960s. So I have a lot of material, even predating that, going back to the late 40s and the 1950s. So it's good to have a base of substantial information so you could document what you write about. You know, have photographs, have interesting photographs to highlight the material. It's important if you're going to be a writer to write. You have to sit down every day and make sure that you produce at least a certain amount of pages. For me, I'll do at least 2 or 3 pages a day. A good writer will always read a lot. That way you learn about different things and different styles, and you can incorporate different kinds of writing styles into your own format and develop your own style. And so I do all of these things. I've learned that going all the way back to being a reporter in the Bedford Times Register in Ohio as a teenager and publishing the Flying Saucer Report. When I was in the military, in the Navy, I was the editor of the Miramar Naval Air Station Jet Journal. That's where where the Top Gun was filmed and everything. And I've been doing this stuff a long time as a journalist. I'm just so happy to be that's my passion is writing. And it also provides me an opportunity to travel and to go around the world. In the past few years, I've been to Germany, China twice. I've been to Canada, all over the place, talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials, and also meeting new friends and garnering more information to put in yet other books. So far I have 13 books that I've written, or 14, because two of them are unpublished, that I wrote a long time ago, but I never had a chance. One of them was with Andy Reese, who is the psychic for the Weekly World News, a tabloid newspaper in the United States, and we did a book called about extraterrestrials. And well, some of the information that was in that book went into this book and other books. That's exciting to be a writer.
Yeah, amazing. And now you are going to start writing your autobiography also, and that's also on the way, as I
Oh yeah.
understand. So, so many books. One thing I would like to know is that I understand you do a lot of research, and your journalist background is also there, and you love writing. And you also meet a lot of people. You have physically traveled to Venus, and you have been in touch with extraterrestrial beings. So all these things have definitely helped you write. Have you ever got downloads while writing? As in, like how you write automatic writing kind of thing? Like you get downloads from the beings from higher dimensions and then you write. Have you ever done that? Or is it mostly through research and actually meeting these beings?
Times I do it with a kind of a download, especially the Gospels of Thomas and Mary Magdalene. But after the download comes, what I'll do is I want to substantiate it, and so I will do the research afterwards to footnote it and document it, so that it's different. I think it's different than other readings or channelings that you might see, like from traditional ones, like from Edgar Cayce or something, because you can actually see where I document where these things have happened before, or scientific information to back up what's in what's in the reading.
We have covered a lot for this episode, and maybe we can invite you once again for different aspects of extraterrestrial beings, and maybe we will have some more updates later. So, do you have any parting message for our audience today?
Yes, I would just like to say that thank you for your interest. Thank you for watching. Thank you for having me on the program. I know that this is helping to expand consciousness and awareness of our presence in a galactic community. And this is needed more than ever, that we know that we're not alone, that we don't have to go it alone, that our extraterrestrial friends have got our back. There are forces, good and bad, and as Paul Hellyer said, the Canadian defense minister, he said about 20% of them may not have the best intentions toward us, but 80% do. They're keeping the bad guys in check. We could feel confident to move forward. Keep watching the skies and be kind to one another. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the amazing work that you are doing. And thank you so much for sharing so much through your books that you have been putting out. So much of work you have done, and it's wonderful. So, thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Akanksshaa. Much appreciated.
Thank you for watching and listening in wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we all are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and our guests. And if you resonate with me, do subscribe to my channel and do let us know how you find our episodes. Thank you so much. Lots of love.